and fuck the Packers.
And fuck them real hard.
Hey, as I said, trophies named after us. We've been around longer than your franchise was even.
Trophy's not named after.
And we have more championships than you.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Fine. I guess you had one good time in the '90s. Remember the ice ball? Remember that?
We also had two nice
took
times
you
in
up
the
there,
70s.
Took you out to the old woodshed, classic NFL style. Beat the shit out of you out of frozen tundra. And invented the push rule. Or
wasn't that like? Wasn't that
like a one-score game?
Yeah, that definitely was. There was like this whole like fullback dive at the
shit
end.
Out of you. Don't worry about it. We won. That's all that matters.
He doesn't know his own team's history.
It's really great. It's not the Cowboys fans that are living in the past now. It's the Packers fans.
No kidding.
Hey, 2 Hall of Famers.
And not the recent past.
When I go back and count my past victories on my hand, at least takes up my whole hand. You got a thumb short, dog. You got 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row playing like for 40 years, and you get 2 rings out of it.
You want recent? How's last year for recent? Huh? How's that, boys? How'd that one feel? Having that one in hand, getting boathouse at the end of the game by one rookie.
That took a lot to understand that.
Defense.
We're going to edit this bullshit out, right?
Oh, no, we're leaving it in. I'm the one that's edited, so we're leaving it all in. Anyway. All right. So, as you may have seen, folks, I'm a little hyped for the episode. There's a reason why we left it for last. Best for last. We know what it is. The NFC North. The Great North. Sure as snow. Here we are once again, bringing it back. Green Bay Packers. We'll mention them first because they're clearly going to win the division. Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings, and Detroit Lions, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing this week.
I like that. You named it in the exact order of how that division is going to go this year.
Feel like it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
we'll see.
Who do we think is actually going to be? Who do we think is going to be worse in the division? Because honestly, it's really up for grabs, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm in the wrong place. I'm supposed to be down here. Let me quick switch that.
Oh yeah. So the fingers.
So they're pushing here. Move over here.
Last place.
Move over here. You gotta adjust these gentlemen so we're in the right spot. All right. Yeah. So anyway, we're not.
Does it look better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks better. Yeah. Point again. Okay. Sure. So I mean, we could talk about the Packers first, I guess, if we're gonna get 2-1 here on my own. It's not my own podcast, but let's be real. I'm the
7-10. That's what the Packers are doing this year. 7
You're
and
out
10.
of your minds.
They're not. Yeah, they're not winning 7 games.
Anyhow, let's get past this. I guess we're going to talk about the Packers first. I full-heartedly disagree, but we'll get into their teams after this. So,
5-12.
Jordan Love, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan.
Sorry. 4-13. I'm so sorry, Jordan Love. My bad.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sure. All right. We're gonna cut right through that, and we're gonna get into Jordan Love. Now, honestly, all right. Honest football opinions here. Jordan Love in the preseason has looked solid.
And here's where the honest football opinions already cease. My God, Patrick, you lasted half a second.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm here to give the people advice. Okay, I mean, I might be wearing my hat, I might be out here for my team, but I'm also a realist. You know, come on, we're playing fantasy football here. You gotta be real.
What? You are never a realist when you're talking about the Packers.
Oh, I'm absolutely a realist.
You are Dave with the Bears.
So I'm gonna be. Oh my God, do not smear my name like that. And I did say smear. Anyway, now all I'm trying to say is do not bagel my name like that, sir. Okay,
I said it.
All I'm trying to say is that I think the Packers are going to compete. I think they have a chance to make the playoffs. That's my honest opinion of the Packers this year. And here's what I have to say. I think Jordan Love, out of the quarterbacks that have taken over the reins, and there's a lot of them this year. There's like 7, 8, maybe. I mean, it's like a full quarter to maybe a third of the league that's getting a new quarterback this year, taking over the reins of the team. I mean, is he the best one out of them? No, because I think we have some veterans that are much more proven, a la Derek Carr, other ones like that, right? However, do I think he's probably the best of some of the young quarterbacks that have taken over a team? I think he has a chance to be, for sure. I think he's going to have a better season just because of the team surrounding him and the experience he has. I think he's going to have a better season than Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Baker Mayfield. Probably Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's not taking over, right? But he's a young quarterback. Sam Howell. I mean, all I'm trying to say is I think the Packers have a solid chance to be right there between 12 and 16 in terms of the teams in the NFL. That's why I mean that they have a chance to make the playoffs. I think that's where they're going to be. And I think Jordan Love is capable of doing that.
Interesting.
It's my opinion. I don't think he needs to be drafted, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to be drafted. Also, I think the odds of the Packers making the playoffs are probably about 5%.
Ooh, wow.
I think you're low, sir. I think you're underrating the defense.
I'd put it at 15.
But 5%.
Maybe 20.
Not 5%.
I think you're highly underrating the defense. I think they have potentially the most talent on the defensive side of the ball in the division. If you look at it on paper, I think they may have the most talented defense in the division. That's going to keep them in games. If Jordan Love is a capable quarterback, they're going to be able to win games. Or they're going to be there and have the opportunity to win games. They could easily lose a bunch of one-score games like any NFL team could. I think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to be in games. I think they have enough talent on the team to do that. It's my opinion. However, I mean, we don't think Jordan Love needs to get drafted, right? So let's talk about somebody a little bit relevant. Aaron Jones, the man whose jersey I'm wearing, the heart and soul of the Green Bay Packers, the veteran voice in the room nowadays.
The man that has been on Bailey Strausser's team, I believe, every year but one since I've been in this league.
Yeah, I had him the first year when he was relevant because, you know, you got to – if you don't know about your home team guys before everybody else, then what are you doing? You know? You should. So Aaron Jones, I think, is getting taken too low. They're going to need him. They're going to have to rely on him. You know, he should get opportunities galore. The fact that he's being taken after Ken Walker is insane to me.
I think you're right with that. I think that's crazy.
And the fact that he's you know, if he gets taken after Alexander Madison, I think that's crazy too. He's way more proven. He's a more talented running back. It's only his sixth year in the NFL. You know, he's a little bit past his prime. Running back prime is like age 25 and below. But, you know, he's a great athlete. He's a great catcher of the ball. He's a shifty runner. He works well in the Packers run scheme. Packers have a top half offensive line, a la PFF. And I think he's going to be a borderline RB1 this year. That's what I think. He's going to be 12 to 15, somewhere in there. And he's going to get taken around RB18, which is crazy, you know.
I think based on them having Jordan Love under center and needing so much from Aaron Jones means that he should also be going higher than where he's being drafted.
I mean, he may go higher in our league just because we have somebody who wants to have him on our team every single freaking year.
Yep.
So that's a very real possibility. But, I mean, if we're talking in general and she doesn't do that, because who knows, maybe, you know, maybe.
Yeah, because we have no idea who's drafting Bailey's team this year. We don't know what they think.
Anyway, let's not get into that.
Why? She's a Packers fan. Fuck her.
I mean, that's the best thing about her. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is A.J. Dillon. I don't think A.J. Dillon has, you know, he had a lot of hype coming into last year. He didn't really capitalize on it. The offense as a whole kind of sputtered. There was a lot of injuries on the offensive line that took part of that. But also, A.J. Dillon was not dynamic last year. When he was trying to catch the ball in open space, he looked like he had clubs for hands. I mean, there was a lot of drops. He was kind of a lumbering running back last year. He's a great running back to have in the second half of the year. Huge guy. Nobody wants to tackle him in November. Okay, he's like Derrick Henry's younger cousin that's just as big, but not as athletic and gifted a football player. That's what A.J. Dillon is.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to take him as anything but a 10th to 13th round running back handcuff, or if you're a little bit light for depth, he's a guy who's going to get 7 to 10 touches a game. You know?
Yeah. And I need you to start making some decisions that I disagree with, because so far everything you said about your team, fantasy wise, I'm right in line with, and I would love to argue with you.
It's funny how I just set you guys up to think I was going to spew some bullshit, and then I just hit you with.
Well, you did. You spewed it.
Already did a little bit.
You did it.
But no, the Aaron Jones hype is real, because like the team's gonna have to go through somebody, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a good security option. He didn't seem to do a whole lot last year, but it seemed like they were okay with that. But I expect that
quietly. So you think so, right? Quietly, he was still a very solid RB2. Still had 3 touchdowns on the ground, 5 touchdowns through the air, solid yardage through the air. I believe he had 50-some receptions. He dealt with an injury a little bit for a moment there, not too long. I think he missed a game or two, or was hobbled for a game or two. But still very consistent. I mean, not the RB1 seasons of old when he was really kind of dominating and Jamal Williams would come in and spell him, and then, maybe Jamal Williams would steal a touchdown here or there. But I think you're going to get, granted he's healthy the entire year. We always assume health in these projections, right? If he's healthy the entire year, I think he's going to have a better year this year statistically than he did the previous season, just because of need alone.
What did he finish last year?
I want to say he was right around 18 to 20. Let me look real quick. Jake might be able to get there quicker than me, but
I haven't started.
Let's pull this up here. It would be easiest if I had some Sleeper is really useful for this. Another reason why we should switch to Sleeper for our fantasy football league, folks. It's a great app. I know I got Todd on board. I'll slowly bring you all over. It's a great app. Anyway, last year he was actually in PPR. He was the running back 9.
See, I'm seeing for half PPR running back 11.
Yeah, that's
he's an RB1.
Surprising.
He has been an RB1 in half PPR 4 years in a row.
That is surprising. He had 1,100 yards on the ground, 400 more to the air. Only 2 rushing touchdowns, though.
Yeah, because it was all A.J. Dillon for the rushing touchdowns. And also, Packers offense was not scoring a lot of touchdowns last year. That was part of it, too. So there you have it. I mean, as consistent as they come, Mr. Aaron. It's 4 years straight. RB1, baby.
And not touchdown dependent.
No, because he catches so many passes. He's gonna be as consistent as they come.
I would love to have Aaron Jones on my team.
If you start off your draft and your first 2 to 3 picks are wide receivers, a tight end, or a quarterback, you could get Aaron Jones as your running back 1 and be completely fine, which is not a bad strategy to take, folks.
Except you got to watch out for Bailey, who's taking him in the second round.
Yeah, very possible. There's other guys, though. Do I think they're as dynamic as Aaron Jones at that draft price? Absolutely not. I think he's maybe J.K. Dobbins, but J.K. Dobbins is not nearly as proven as Aaron Jones. I don't
want any part of that.
So anyhow, anything else to say on the running backs?
Let's move on to the wide receivers.
So wide receivers are very interesting. I mean, obviously the big dog, you got Christian Watson, the burner, kind of proved himself a little bit last year. But interestingly enough, massive touchdown, massive big play numbers, 41 receptions total.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not
Took
great.
him a few weeks to get going, but when he turned it on, and he got that connection. Been touching.
True.
Every week he was putting up double digits.
So here's the thing, though.
On 3 catches.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That is hard to plant your flag on that. That is very easily, something that they could, regress to the mean, as they like to say, right?
A lot harder without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I'm a Packers fan. I've watched every game that Jordan Love's ever played in. I think he's a much better quarterback in year 3 than he was in year 1, and we'll see. But
you have never been a Packer fan whilst you guys didn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback?
I absolutely have. I watched an entire season when Brett Hundley was throwing the ball and Aaron Rodgers broke his
I mean, because of
every
injury.
single
Yeah,
game.
I'm talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what I'm saying. I'm gonna still watch every single game.
Uncharted territory for you.
Yeah,
you don't know the pain you could be walking into right now.
You haven't even experienced Quincy Carter.
Yeah.
Shut Hutchinson.
Well, you guys said, anyway, we're getting in the weeds. But that's the only argument against Christian Watson, right? He's a great athlete. He's a big-bodied prototype wide receiver.
Burner. He's a burner.
Crazy speed and size. That combination is deadly in the NFL at wide receiver, right? All reports is that he's having a good offseason. He clearly is going to be a highly targeted wide receiver, but he's going right around wide receiver 20. And the other wide receivers you can get at that price, DeAndre Hopkins, Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper's right in there. Keenan Allen's right in there.
Yeah, there's no chance that Christian Watson is going to wind up on my team if he's around those guys.
That's where he's going, 20 to 22. That's right where he's at. And it's hard
that to me, that's just leftover hype from last year. You know what I mean? I think that's definitely too high.
Yeah, it's too high for a guy who has not really proven that he can lock down a target share.
Honestly, he just smells like Will Fuller to me.
Oh yeah, okay.
He does.
I think he's more talented than Will Fuller, but
I'm not talking whether he's more talented than him or not. I'm talking how they show up on a fantasy roster. Smells a lot like Will Fuller because of the quarterback situation. Some of it.
Jordan Love is not as talented as Sean Watson.
Let me throw out a couple of names to go with Christian Watson. Christian Watson or Christian Kirk?
Christian Kirk.
I would take Watson.
Christian Watson or Tyler Lockett?
Christian Watson.
I would take Watson.
Okay. Both those receivers are in a tier below Watson, by the way.
Give me one more.
Because of JSN is why, by the way.
Exactly.
Drake London or Christian Watson?
That one's close.
Drake London.
Drake London.
I'm taking Drake London.
Because he's going to be the number one on his team.
He is.
Yeah. And so is Christian Watson, probably. And that's a very similar situation.
I don't like how you said probably because I feel that. I feel that. They don't have a one because everyone wants it to be, what is it, Romeo?
Romeo Dobbs. I was going to get into Romeo Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs, okay, was a fourth-round pick, all right? He had a crazy amount of hype last year in the offseason.
I know, we heard it from you.
No, it was not just me. There's many other beat writers.
You're right. Let me tell you about all the other people.
Look it up. Look at all the articles that were written about Romeo Dobbs, the darling of dynasty drafts last season. Okay? He came in, and before he had a high ankle sprain in week 9, as a fourth-round rookie, he commanded 6 targets from a guy who does not target rookies. Okay? 6 targets a game he averaged with Aaron Rodgers.
He didn't target rookies before the ayahuasca. He's a new man.
Anyway,
how do I?
The thing is, Romeo Dobbs was putting up numbers with Aaron Rodgers last year as a rookie. If you are a fourth-round pick and you come in and you demand 6 targets a week, in the NFL, you have talent. That doesn't happen if you're not a talented wide receiver. It just doesn't. You don't see that. If you're going to demand that amount of target share as a rookie, then you have talent. And the other thing is, if you've watched him during the preseason, he is Jordan Love's safety blanket. He potentially is a better route runner than Christian Watson at this moment. Christian Watson is a more talented, more athletic wide receiver.
I think Romeo what you Dobbs just said route runner. Is more to Cody's point that they don't have a clear number one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. No, it's another reason why Watson's going too high. If you want a Packers wide receiver at all, wait and take Dobbs much later.
That conversation right there is why the answer is Drake London between those two.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
Well, Kyle Pitts could get in the way of Drake London too, but
and Bijan Robinson's going to take a lot of. Yeah, you're right. But
they're very similar situations.
But at their own position, there is a 1 in Atlanta, and there's not a 1 in Green Bay.
Drake London is also a more polished, higher pedigree wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just coming out of USC versus North Dakota. I mean, there's no comparison. And you just watch them on the field as well, and you can see that Drake London is a more polished wide receiver at this point in his career.
And Christian Watson is an athletic freak.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so the third wide receiver there, without injury, he's probably not going to contribute a lot. But somebody to pay attention to. They did take a second-round rookie, Jaden Reed. He had a good game last week in preseason. He caught a really nice touchdown pass. It was like a 30-yard pass. Somebody to pay attention to. Maybe comes on later in the year. It's possible. He was taken in the same round as Jonathan Mingo and Marvin Mims. And people are on those guys. So I'm just saying he has the same pedigree as those guys, in terms of where he was taken in the draft. Comes out of the Big Ten, not one of the better conferences in college football. So
somebody to have on your radar, but probably not somebody to put on your draft board.
Maybe as your 15th pick, maybe. There might be other guys there, So I think he probably hits waivers.
Well, then the Packers drafted 2 tight ends. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah,
right
Luke
now?
Musgrave is the one you want if you want any of them, and you don't want it. So they're rookie tight ends. And there's better – if you're going to take a rookie tight end, there's better rookie tight ends out there. So
there you go.
Yep, that's the pack. I think the defense is going to be much better than they were last year. They've had some scheme changes. Same coordinator. Scheme changes. They're going to be healthy. They're going to have some of their young guys healthy. They had some unfortunate injuries in their linebacking core. I think they have talent at all 3 levels of the defense. The biggest question on the defense is really at safety. Their crazy talented kickoff returner, Keyshawn Nixon, is a very fast and athletic cornerback, and he is going to be playing the nickel corner role and apparently has been playing very well. So it'll be very interesting.
Okay.
You got Rasul Douglas and Jair on the outside. Not a bad pairing of cornerbacks. So.
Yeah.
Anyhow, moving on. Who do we think is number 3 in this division?
Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. Chicago brought in a lot of talent. They've made a lot of moves.
You got to see it from the quarterback. That's what it is.
Yeah. You got to see his ability to win games. Not his ability to put up points. His ability to win games.
Way more excited to watch the Bears than I've been in years prior, but still hard third, if not 4th place.
Yeah. I feel like they're the only ones that could give up their position to Green Bay.
I think the Lions could too. And honestly, I think the Vikings could too, because the Vikings defense is horrendous this year.
I don't think that there's a clear and away winner in this division. I think the loser's a little more easy to decide for me.
So anyway, but let's talk about the Bears for shits and giggles. I want me some Justin Fields this year, boys.
Yeah.
I want him on my team.
Yeah, I get that. I do too.
Some of those designed runs, man, just knowing that you bust one of them off, it's a 15-pointer.
People like Justin Fields existing makes me so happy that I don't have to be in the top 4 quarterback selections. That's what that means to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Justin Herbert as well, and Joe Burrow, and Anthony Richardson, and Deshaun Watson. There's so many guys. Trevor Lawrence. Come on.
Yep. Yeah, I feel good knowing that I don't have to look up at a Justin Fields all the time because the things that are going around him are good too.
It's QB rich in the top 12 this year, boys. There's a lot of talent in the top 12 QBs this year. The thing is, Justin Fields provides QB1 level talent. Let's say they get it right in Chicago, which is a big if. They haven't done it in a while. And
ever. The answer is ever.
Done it.
Never.
No, they've been to the NFC Championship. They've been to the Super Bowl.
They've never gotten the quarterback right.
They have never gotten the quarterback right. That's the point, exactly. But they've never had as dynamic of a quarterback as they have right now. They never have in their history.
Accurate.
True.
And massive pedigree for the guy. I mean, he was touted on the same level. It was him and Trevor Lawrence from the time they were 16 years old.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And blazing fast, as Mike McDaniel said, that boy fast in the highlight from last year. and he is fast. Like he beats guys to the corner effortlessly around the edge. He's got a big arm. He can throw the ball down the field. And now he has, Darnell Mooney is a good wide receiver too. He's not a wide receiver one. He has a real wide receiver one now.
He does.
And, is DJ Moore as physically capable as A.J. Brown? I don't think so. But you got shades of Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown brewing in Chicago. What they did last year and what the boys in Chicago could do this year, there's a lot of similarities there. You got a bit, you have an athletic running quarterback. I think you're going to have a good running team. People forget they ran the ball quite well in Chicago last year. You could have a lot of play action. This offense this year has so many ways to attack a defense that I think that's going to open up big plays for Fields and DJ. That's my feeling about this team.
It's weird being excited about a Chicago offense, isn't it?
It is. It feels like you're going to get sand in your face.
It does. It does. I'm glad I'm not a Bears fan.
Yeah. I just think they actually are going to be good at offense this year. I really do.
I want it to be true. It's just, like you said, one of those teams that have let you down enough times to where, or not let you down because, I'm not a Bears fan, but have not met expectations.
You can imagine yourself in the shoes of a Bears fan in those moments and be like, God damn it again.
Right?
This is who we are again.
That's all you got?
Now, if you want Justin Fields, you're probably going to have to take him in the 4th or 5th round, probably, to get him. That's probably where he should go. If you get him in the 5th round or even in the early 6th, you're stealing. Get him in the early 6th, you're stealing. I don't think he's going to go there. Our league is going to start a QB run early. That's what they always do. He's going to go earlier than he needs to. So, unfortunately, I probably won't get him, but we'll see.
He could be drafted as a QB4 in our league. I could see that happening.
I could see him getting I could see him getting drafted as low as a QB7 in our league too.
Well, it just depends.
Because you got to take out the 2 Bears fans right away, right? So how do they not get Justin Fields? Well, the answer is Patrick Mahomes goes to Dave in the 1st round. Easy thing to see coming. Easy thing to see coming. We can see it all coming. And then you got Austin, who wants to be right on someone unique so bad that he's going to draft Sam Howell, and Justin Fields then gets dropped down to the 6th round.
I think he'll try to go getting Richardson. It's more like but
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
But come on now, give the man a little credit. Yeah, he had a solid draft last year. He just made some bad trades. He actually did have a solid draft.
That's what I.
Keep on, but that will be back up.
He had Josh Jacobs, dude. And he had some other solid players. But anyway, all I'm trying to say is, anyway, Justin Fields is probably going to go a little bit earlier than he should in our league, and I think it's always good to provide context because we're drafting in what is it, 4 days? Man, if any of you folks are out there watching this,
I really hope you put this podcast up a couple days prior to that because
absolutely.
Needs to be seen.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be up probably by Thursday. It'll be up.
Austin's 1st round pick last year, if you remember right, which I didn't until now, James Conner.
Oh my God, he did.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, he did that.
I just
Number 2 pick was Deebo Samuel.
You told him he did good.
Not terrible.
I did tell him he did good.
But 3rd was Josh Jacobs, the RB1. So yeah,
horrible 1st round pick.
Can we continue on? What's 4th, 5th, and 6th?
Yeah,
4th is Mahomes. 5th is Marquise Brown.
4th round pick for Mahomes, not bad.
5th is Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown himself, and 6th
Patrick
is
Mahomes
Darren Waller.
Made it to the 4th round.
Correct.
Josh Allen went first last year.
I remember that, but I'm so surprised that Patrick Mahomes went to the 4th round.
Strange, but that's what
that is strange.
But anyway, we don't need to go into that. I mean, he made one real bad pick first.
He did.
But anyway, we can dissect the draft all day long. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
I mean, now's the time to do it if we're going to do it. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like 4 days away.
But we'll have a fresh pickings here in a few days to dissect, boys. But
and I'm gonna dissect it.
I want to talk about
tear it apart.
I want to talk about the running backs because there's a lot to talk about in the Chicago running back room. They have 3 guys that are very capable. Khalil Herbert, to me, is the far and away lead running back, and their touches in the preseason would seem to agree with me. Mm-hmm. Khalil Herbert's the one that's been getting rested. In the case of a rookie, that's not a good thing. In the case of a guy who's already proven himself, that is a good thing because that means it's his job.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a crowded backfield. If you got 3 bodies anywhere.
And Donta Foreman, as we've seen in recent years, it's a great story, the injuries that he came back from, and has been a productive running back and is a very physical, big-bodied running back. He's a guy that can soak up touches. But I honestly think that helps Khalil Herbert a little bit because I think Khalil Herbert needs 15 carries and 3 catches a game. That's what he needs. And I think he can be uber efficient with that a la Tony Pollard type play. I don't think he's as gifted as Tony Pollard, but he might be – he's a more physical running back than Tony Pollard. You know what I mean? He's a very explosive running back between the tackles. And he had a very high forced missed tackle rate. His PFF ratings are a lot better than you'd expect. And I think if he gets 15 carries a week, he's going to be a solid RB2. And you can get him late.
How late?
I got him in the 10th round today.
He's looking like the RB32, which is almost not even RB3 range. So Patrick's higher on him than his ADP. I can't say I disagree, but
yeah, he's going to be great. Khalil Herbert season, baby. Talent.
So what do you think about Roschon?
Roschon's going to be a guy. So the thing that's going to get Roschon on the field is if the other 2 fuck up in pass protection, because Roschon is the thing that he's best at is pass protection. He would come in on 3rd downs in Texas, pass pro, and receiving back work. That's what he would do for Texas. And he was the guy that was behind a generationally talented running back at the position, okay? Mm-hmm. And he still was a reasonably highly drafted running back in the NFL draft. I think that says something about his talent. If he had had a bigger opportunity somewhere else, I think he potentially could have been 2nd, 3rd round running back. I think he slid maybe to the 4th, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a very talented pass blocker. He had really good ratings. The thing is, he's not a tiny running back. He's decently sized. Some of his numbers might be skewed in college because he's coming in at the end of the game, and doing mop-up duty after Bijan's been running all over a defense. And then he just, so who knows? But I think he's a lot more talented than people think, is my estimation.
Do you think he'll end up getting work, though? Work that makes that Khalil Herbert pick more worthy of a 32 quarterback. I'm sorry, 32 running back than where you're putting him up at.
No, I think what's going to happen is Donta Foreman wears down in the second half of the season. If Khalil Herbert stays healthy, then you see Roschon take over Donta Foreman's work. And then Donta Foreman is no longer on the team next year, and Roschon's the 2. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
But I think as long as Khalil's healthy, I think it's his job. That's what I think.
So high on Herbert.
Yep. I'm high on Herbert. I love taking him right around the same spot as you would take Dameon Pierce, Cam Akers, but you don't have to. You don't have to do that. I think that's where he should be ranked. You don't have to take him. That's why I love him so much.
Damn, that's quite a bump you got on him. You said Cam Akers. Who else did you say?
And Dameon Pierce. And I would take Khalil Herbert. I think Khalil Herbert should be ranked in the early 20s. That's what I think.
Interesting.
So from 24 to 32, who's in that range, Jake? Since you got
24 to 32, Rachaad White, David Montgomery, his old teammate, Alvin Kamara, Javonte Williams, James Cook.
I think that's tough.
Yeah, I don't like him better any of those names.
I would take James Cook. Absolutely take James Cook before. The rest of them,
Khalil Herbert or Dalvin Cook. That one's got a lot of question marks around it, but
Khalil Herbert.
Okay.
That one's washed. There's a lot of other guys that run better.
I mean, I would put a lot more weight behind that if you weren't wearing Aaron Jones jersey when you said it, but you might be.
Go look at his PFF numbers. He had his worst efficiency numbers ever in his career. He's washed.
1 year is all it took for you to write him off, huh?
He's washed, man. I'm telling you. They took him on a rental contract for a reason.
A rental contract for $8 million?
Yeah, 1 year, $8 million for a guy of Dalvin Cook's pedigree. That's a rental contract.
Well, it's a rental contract anyway because it's 1 year.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's running backs.
So you agree?
I don't know.
It's a rental contract. He's gonna be out of the league in a year.
God, he might be. Fuck.
That's what I'm saying, man.
He might be.
Yeah.
I mean, if I see Leonard Fournette on a roster this year, I'm gonna be shocked.
Kareem Hunt will get signed long before he does.
Yeah, I think so too. I saw what happens to running backs like with number 7 last year, and it was just so bad. I didn't see that in Dalvin Cook. And I know you got PFF that tells me otherwise, but like I didn't see.
Lenny will find a job just because of how many running backs get hurt. He will.
Yeah.
He'll get paid a little bit, but he ain't gonna have that stuff. But all right, so receivers. Anything else on the running backs? We're good on that?
Now let's talk about DJ Moore.
Yes, DJ Moore, baby. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. I want to know where he's going. I want to know how to get him on my team. Who am I trading? What are we doing?
Can I just say
wide receiver 20 right around there?
Opened up a draft on ESPN, best ball draft. Opened up a draft about 2 hours ago. I was eating some schnitzel. Tuesday's schnitzel night, by the way. I was so good last week. We did it again, folks. And I knew we were doing NFC North. I had to do it. Anyway, so opened up a draft. I went AJ Brown. Amon-Ra. Then I went Amari Cooper and DJ Moore, first 4 picks. Full PPR league, baby. It's beautiful. I got DJ Moore as my 4th wide receiver.
Do you start 4 receivers?
Yeah. You start 3 and then you throw the other one in your flex. And then I still had Cam Akers and James Cook as my starting running backs. Khalil Herbert on the bench. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway. Little slide there.
So where do you want to see DJ Moore? What's going to get you like foaming at the mouth if he's there on the clock still?
5th round. If I see DJ Moore in the 5th round, I'm going to go
You think DJ Moore is going to a 5th round?
It depends on how many people have seen that screen that went to the house in the preseason.
Oh my God.
Would you take him? Would you take him late 3rd?
There's too many good guys there.
Late 3rd, you're still looking at Amari Cooper. Or you're looking kind of at Aaron Jones. Late 3rd, you're even looking at like Lamar Jackson almost.
Dude, I'm telling you, you line up DJ Moore and Amari Cooper, I got to take one of those in the draft, and I'm starting to get fucking squeamish. I don't know. That is tough. Because I would have told you Amari Cooper a month ago, and I'm like, don't worry about it. Give me that number 1. He works with everybody. But now I'm like, no, man. I got it. I want some of that DJ Moore nuts, man. It's gonna be good.
It depends. It depends on my roster construction. Mm-hmm. If I already got a guy like if I have CeeDee Lamb already,
yeah,
then I'm probably taking Mark. Okay. If I got Amon-Ra, I'm probably taking DJ Moore. Right?
I get it.
See how it works? Because
Amon-Ra
is the possession guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it,
DJ's the big play guy, and then reverse that. Depends on who I got.
That sounds like a great middle of the road strategy to get you 4th place.
Sounds like a great strategy to give you 2 locked and loaded wide receiver ones.
I'm busting your balls. I agree. Yeah.
Come on, sir. I was like, you can't even knock that strategy. That was beautiful what I just laid out right there.
That was good.
Stay versatile. Stay in the playoffs.
So Darnell Mooney is another guy that is going to benefit from no longer being the wide receiver one. He's going to massively benefit from that. He's a talented wide receiver. He's going to go way too late. He is coming back from an injury. You could look at it this way. Whoever drafts him might cut him in 3 weeks because I don't think he's going to be very effective. Okay, and then we got to remember that Chase Claypool is there now too. And Chase Claypool
forget that
is not a slouch. Okay,
no,
he's not a great wide receiver. Okay, he hasn't been great recently, but he's a physically talented wide receiver that can win contested catches down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he could push Darnell Mooney to the wide receiver 3 spot, especially if Mooney's injured early in the year and Claypool builds some chemistry with Fields.
I also see that coming. I really think that Mooney's stock takes a hit because of Claypool's existence.
And you got to remember, too, Claypool came in the middle of the year last year, and now he's had a full offseason.
Yep. Whole training camp, catching balls, jumping around.
It depends on how bought in he is, because he's always been a little bit of a head case, right? I mean, that's kind of been his thing in recent years. That was the knock on him in Pittsburgh. There's the infamous play where they're trying to come back late in the game. There's 30 seconds left on the clock. He catches the ball on like their own 48, and instead of giving the ball to the ref and running back to the line, he hops up and celebrates for like 10 seconds, pushes his own lineman, and tries to grab the ball away from him.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some moments
tough.
in
That's Antonio Brown kind of move.
Yeah. So, with guys like that, you gotta kind of work that in a little bit. If you got a tiebreaker, do I go with Sky Moore, who's probably a team player and can play ball, or do I go with this head case who might decide to take his jersey off and not play for the team ever again? We'll see. Not that he's ever done that, but Antonio Brown reference.
Not yet.
You get what I was doing.
Not yet. Dang.
So I think you do have some guys there in that wide receiver room that you could take later in the draft. If you're looking for some upside at wide receiver later in the draft, I think Claypool and Mooney both could provide that. Just who do you feel like has the inside route to the wide receiver 2 job there?
But the wide receiver pool is just so dense. It's been that way for a few years. So Darnell Mooney's not on my radar until I'm on round 12.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He'd be one of my last picks of the draft, and he's probably the first person cut.
But that's the type of guy you want to take later in the draft. He's still a young guy. He has down the field talent. He's proven that he can make big plays. Okay. And he's a guy that you're either going to see it in the first 3 weeks or you're not. And if you don't, you cut him and you pick up the waiver hotness. That's what you do.
Yeah. He's a lottery pick for sure. But that's what he is now. He's a lottery pick.
Yeah, especially with DJ. There's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
You guys got any interest in Cole Kmet? He's kind of hovering around the tight ends that could get drafted range.
No.
If I'm the last person to take a tight end, maybe.
That's right where he is. He's 12 to 15.
If you see me streaming Cole Kmet, don't come for me because I'm not excited about him now. But it's because he's getting streamed. All right. Yeah, that's it.
He's a streamer. He'll be on some teams this year.
They'll play Minnesota twice.
Well, yeah, maybe you need a tight end, and they're playing the team that is the 30th in the league against tight ends, and so Cole Kmet on.
Which might be
Minnesota.
It might be Minnesota. It might be Minnesota twice. That's the thing. So
their linebacker core of old and their safety core of old is no longer what it used to be.
Accurate.
So, on defense, I think it bears saying that. See what I did there?
God damn!
I didn't mean to do that. That was beautiful.
I could tell. That's why I hated even
going. Yeah. It bears saying that the Bears have added some talent to their defense. They brought in Tremaine Edmonds to replace Roquan Smith. Kind of a weird move, right?
Yeah,
you already had the guy there.
It was kind of a weird move.
Kind of the same way I thought when Tennessee shipped off A.J. Brown and then as they were bringing in Treylon Burks. You know what I mean?
What did you gain?
Yeah.
You sent the guy away.
You already had the guy. You sent away a sure thing for a maybe.
Some franchises they just don't get it right, do they?
That's Chicago.
Yeah. They brought in a lot of guys on defense. Tremaine Edmonds is the biggest name on that defense. So they brought in. So,
well, they drafted 2 interior defensive linemen in the second round too.
Yeah, did they not also get like a first round? Who did they take in the first round?
Right tackle.
Okay, right. So yeah, that's right. They their offensive line was improved upon also. So that bears saying as well.
Move on now.
That's how
it is. I think you're doing it right.
I don't even think that you need to draft the Bears. I think there's better teams for you to draft. I mean, one of the Bears fans might draft them if they're all hyped on them, but we'll see.
Yeah, it depends who they play week 1.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you can look at that.
I'm seeing Chicago Bears on Fantasy Pros as the defense 30.
30? Yeah. They don't have anything in the secondary is why I would say that. And then I don't think they have they don't
pass rush.
They don't have much. They don't have much anywhere. They got a linebacker.
To your point earlier, Patrick, the Lions and the Vikings are respectively at 26 and 27. So the Packers do seem to have a marginally better defense, fantasy-wise.
Yeah, marginally, as in like they're 15th or 14th ranked defense.
18. So
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a margin.
Hey, what was Dallas ranked again? There?
2.
They're 2. Okay.
2.
Fair. That makes sense. Still beat you last year. But anyway, all I'm trying to say is
you beat me at one thing.
Let's move on to the Vikings because you know what? I just want to say that the Lions are going to win this division because that's fun.
I believe that they will.
I'm on the fence, so that's the vote then. I would, I want to put the Vikings up there, but then I remember how many games they won by 1 possession, and then they shipped out their number 1 running back. So, how do you get better?
And also, like how they were picked to lose to the Giants at home in the playoffs, and then they did.
Yeah. And then the moment they came up against a very talented Cowboy squad, they got absolutely boathouse.
To be fair, though, that was the week. That was the week after that incredibly insane ending against the Buffalo Bills, and that team was probably fucking exhausted,
emotionally exhausted.
They did beat the Bills, and they didn't have it 2 weeks in a row.
You're probably right.
Kirk Cousins is just not the guy. He's not the guy. He's a Kroger brand Tony Romo.
You're not that guy, pal.
Kroger brand Tony Romo.
I'm sorry for the West Coast folks. He's the great value Tony Romo.
Anyhow,
signature brand.
He's the Ralph's Tony Romo, right? Ralph's is the California one, isn't it?
I'll take your word for that one. I have no idea, but he's shit, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway,
he's not shit.
He's not shit. He's a solid. If you wait super late on quarterback, he could be your quarterback, and he would be fine.
He's not shit. He's just not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
He's like quarterback 13.
Yep. That's above half. Above half. All the time.
He's in Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, and Kirk Cousins territory. That's the territory. And you know what? I'd rather have Daniel Jones than him, too.
He's one of those guys that puts up good numbers against teams when they're not very good. And then you play a good team, and he's just bad.
Still playing with
I honestly mean bad. Like some of them – go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, just like some of like the 3 interception games that you see where like there's games you're watching where they need a win and it's prime time and you're looking at him and you're like, what the hell were you thinking on that play? And you do that like 8 times and a half. There's some stinkers in that man's career.
He's not a primetime guy. He's an at home and everybody else is watching the other game and then he'll light you on fire with 5 touchdowns. That's Kirk Cousins.
Yep. And he will.
Yeah,
and he will.
Absolutely will. Because he is talented. You could say what you want about the guy. He has the talent. He's inconsistent. Yeah. But he's much more consistent than many other quarterbacks in the league, even with that inconsistency.
That's true.
He's a bit of
and he's got the number 1 wide receiver in the league as a target.
He's playing with a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
He's in his 3rd year, and the guy's a Hall of Famer. I think we can say that. I mean, Justin Jefferson, barring a massive, devastating career-ending injury, is on the inside track to
the I agree.
So
So let's talk about him.
Well, yeah, let's talk. I mean, Kirk Cousins, we kind of already covered it a little bit. Let's
do the
running backs real
13.
quick.
That's exactly where he ought to be.
Yeah. Yep, 100%.
Yeah. And maybe as Daniel Jones for me.
Daniel Jones is way better because of the running, and I think Daniel Jones is going to surprise people. I think Daniel Jones has the possibility to finish like QB7 this year.
I see that.
Ooh.
He runs a lot.
Ooh.
And he's good at it.
And you're also forgetting how much better he got last year in the first year with Brian Dable. And look at what Brian Dable did. Josh Allen's year 2 now.
That is something to keep in mind. It is.
Okay. I'm just saying, man.
Do you think Daniel Jones is on the up? I don't know where that ceiling is. We might be right next to it. We might, but I do think he's on the up.
I do, and you know what? I don't know if you guys watch Giants preseason.
We got to get out of Giants. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones had a good game the other night. Anyway, 8 for 9 and touchdown, 80 yards.
Gotta get out of it.
Gotta get out of there, man.
I got you.
Gotta get out of there, man.
All right. So we're talking about the running backs, the Vikings. You guys like Alexander Madison? I will not have him on my team. He's a trap.
I'm neutral on Madison. I really do not have a strong opinion either way.
I am a fan. I like it.
It's absolute trap. He might as well have the Superman of just him trap. That's what he says to me. Because he's a guy who's never proven he can hold down a workload. His efficiency, even in the carries he's gotten, has gone down 4 years in a row. There's other guys behind him. They're playing footsie with Kareem Hunt, okay? And he screams trap to me. He screams the guy that you're going to take in the 3rd round and you're going to light that pick on fire when you could have had Aaron Jones or Cam Akers.
Until they signed Kareem Hunt, I disagree.
I mean, fair enough.
Why?
Because I think he's going to get a bulk of the carries. I think it's going to be one of those volume situations. I think that team runs the ball well. I think he I think he catches the ball well. I think he will have like RB2 value unless they bring in someone who just dramatically takes the volume. And at this point, it's going to have to be Kareem Hunt because Dalvin's gone, Zeke's gone. Anyone else? There's no one else available. Kareem Hunt's the only one that would take it away.
Try to sign Jonathan Taylor. Taylor's out there, baby.
Jonathan Taylor's not out there. Jonathan Taylor's a Colt.
He's gonna be a Colt.
Jonathan Taylor's a Colt.
Unless Kansas City gets crazy and they're like, you know what? Let's dominate. No they might.
God, that would be stupid. They don't want to think about that.
What do they need a first-round pick for? They got Patty Mahomes. He can make anybody great.
That's a good point. What do they need a first-round pick for?
They don't need a first-round pick.
They don't.
Anyway, let's get off of that. That would be crazy if that happened. So anyway, the thing that you're also assuming in this scenario, again, is that he gets the passing down work. Tyson Chandler, okay, is the RB2 in this offense, and he is the prototypical – he's the RB2. You can say he's the 3rd. I've been watching the preseason. He's the RB2. It's very clear. He's the most productive one by far in the preseason. He looks the best. He will be the RB2 on that team, 100%.
But you put a lot of stock in preseason performance, don't you?
A lot more than he ought to.
No, he's gonna be the RB2.
Okay.
Who's gonna be the RB2 over him? Dwayne McBride.
I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name.
Kenny Nwangwu. Yeah. Kenny Nwangwu has been, Kenny Nwangwu.
Nwangwu.
Yeah, he's been a kickoff returner his entire career. Tyson Chandler, was splitting touches with Michael Carter out in New York and has proved that he can hold down a workload. Kenny Nwangwu has not done that. Tyson Chandler has been on the field looking good in preseason.
I don't know shit about Nwangwu, Ty Chandler, or Dwayne McBride, but I'm just looking at the depth chart, and they've got Ty Chandler as the number 3. But
Dwayne McBride was a late-round running back pick. He ain't going to see the field this year. Kenny Nwangwu is a career special teamer. Tyson Chandler is the only guy that's proven that he deserves to get touches in an actual NFL offense.
This conversation makes me like Alexander Madison so much more.
What I'm trying to tell you is Tyson Chandler is a good receiving back, and I feel like he's going to get past him that part. That's what I think.
Okay.
And I feel like if they don't like him for that, they're going to bring in Kareem Hunt. That's what I think.
Okay.
Anyway.
Minnesota running backs covered.
Yeah, you're right.
Little wide receivers, Justin, mother trucking, Jefferson.
Hey, guys, I got a hot take. Justin Jefferson is
not
really
that good. Not that hot. Not that hot. It might be in that hat, but like
it is getting a little steamy in there. You know, we got the AC blasted, luckily, for my Midwest ass.
JJ's guaranteed to be one of the top 2 picks, right? Probably number 1.
To me, he should be the 101.
Guaranteed top 3. Probably should be 101.
I can't see a world where he ends 3.
I flirted with Chase.
In our league, I can.
Flirted with Chase with the 101, but Burrow got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That moves him to the 3rd spot. The only 2 names to be debated, CMC,
yes,
Justin Jefferson. That's it.
Unless you're Cody and you want to put Austin Eckler in there.
Because I do.
What?
Here's the deal. If I got the number 2 pick, I'm trading back with Brant wherever he's at. Okay? I'm like, you want your JJ? Here it is.
Well, then you have to make that decision. And then you get your turn quicker. But I would rather have the 2 spot than the 4, man.
I'd rather have the 4 spot than the 2.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I can see either way because that 4th round pick is getting a better pick in the 2nd round.
I feel real sexy, like in between 3 and 8. I like that zone this year.
You put me anywhere else, so I feel anyway.
Relatively, I mean, like if you consider top 4 succeeding.
No, we'll be number 1 this year. What about that? Anyway, now wide receiver 2 is far more interesting. Because we got Jordan Addison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, you guys don't put stock in the preseason. Preseason is very important for rookies to get a visual of how they look on an NFL field, guys. It's important. Okay. It shows you what is their speed in their breaks. Okay. Can they run routes? Can they catch the freaking ball? Can they sit down in the zone? Okay. Can they break a tackle? Can they take the ball to the field? Are they capable of making a big play in the NFL? Mm-hmm. Jordan Addison did all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He looked good.
He got a concussion.
Not good.
Pulls him down probably about 5 spots, I think. Not a lot, but drops his ADP down a little bit. That's what I think. But I still want him on my team.
I think it cost him a round.
Probably.
He'll
be back. I mean, he's got 2.5 weeks, you know.
But what about KJ?
It's not great. KJ's proven that he's got big upside.
He does.
But you have this guy. Okay. Again, this is what I always say about Jordan Addison. This is also why the rest of the fantasy community is high on Jordan Addison. He was a 1st-round draft pick. Okay. 1st-round draft pick. It's the first one that the Vikings took. He was in that slew of 4 wide receivers right there. JSN, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, and Quentin Johnson, right? Those are the 4 big dogs, wide receiver. He's right in there, prolific at USC. He's basically the same size as Zay Flowers. He's Devonta Smith size, basically. Not a big guy, but gets off the line crazy well, has great hands, runs great routes, and he's going to walk right into Adam Thielen's targets. And he's going to be way more productive with him because Alan Thielen was a shell of himself last year. And he still commanded a massive amount of targets. I don't see those. I mean, maybe a few of those slide to KJ.
But do you remember what Thielen would do with some of his targets, though? Like, that man was clutch. It was sideline and it was end zone. So, like, when he's just going to walk into something that the receiver didn't create himself, too. You know what I mean?
But how many more targets can you really give JJ, man? You already had him. JJ was already hold down a 30%.
You give him all of them.
You know,
like every single time that you don't throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, I'm going to turn to my friend who I'm sitting next to. I'm like,
wasted opportunity.
That seems like a wasted opportunity not to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson.
Okay, what I could see happening if you want to make the the bear case, if we're talking about stock value for Jordan Addison, is that you throw 15 more Hawkinson's way and you throw 10 to 15 more KJ Osborne's way, and he gets 30 less than Thielen did, and he's borderline 24 to 28 wide receiver finish this year. That could happen. But I think he is the best position in the offense that he has, in the vacancy that he's walking into. He's the best position potentially of all the rookie wide receivers.
Where's he going at ADP? Because that'll tell you a lot about like how I feel about where he's going to be at.
Talking about KJ?
No, we're talking about Jordan Addison.
Oh,
he's the second rookie off the board. Right? He goes after JS.
Wide receiver 37, roughly.
What are the names around there, if you don't mind?
George Pickens, Gabe Davis, Brandon Cooks, Jahan Dotson.
I do like him better than like all those names. Maybe not Jahan Dotson. But like the rest of them.
And why do we like Jahan Dotson right now, folks? Why?
Because
turf toe.
What? There's turf toe.
2 months.
Eric Bieniemy. That's why we like.
Yep. And Sam Howell looking good, actually.
Okay.
Sam Howell looking good.
Okay.
He can throw the ball.
Okay.
Again, important to watch these guys in preseason. Can he throw the ball? He can throw the ball. And he found Jahan Dotson a whole lot the other night. Terry McLaurin got turf toe. Generally, a full recovery from turf toe. I was reading about it today. 6 to 8 weeks to be 100% explosive off of that foot again.
That sucks.
That means week 5 for Terry McLaurin to be fully 100%. And he's gonna have to play.
And that's one of those injuries a lot of time where it's almost on the non-severe level to where you can get caught in that injury report all week, but he starts, but then you pull him in the middle of the first quarter and you just get that empty burger in your life.
Because it's always swollen.
Yeah. Sometimes it just takes one little stub to aggravate it, and then you can't play for the rest of the game.
I
remember
Terry McLaurin ruled out for the rest of the game. I just see it. I see it coming on a ticker on the screen.
The one time I had the glory of having Devontae Adams on my team was the year that he had the turf toe situation for like 6 weeks straight.
Not as glorious.
It was brutal.
I wish turf toe on your roster.
It fucking sucks because it's exactly what you're saying. Because they can play with it. Okay,
so
they might not, and then they might aggravate, and then like also, Terry McLaurin's not Devontae Adams. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So like, to me, what it means is I ain't drafted Terry McLaurin at all.
I think you're right.
In that way too.
I think everyone in this room does that.
We're so close to the draft now that honestly, if we weren't doing the podcast, you hadn't filled me in. I don't know if I'd have that information. So
that's why I
don't know that it will affect much of his draft value. Has it already affected his ADP? When did this news come out with the turf toe?
He just got turf toe. He just got the diagnosis like a day ago. Like it's been all the rage since yesterday, basically.
I love the breaking news that we bring to this pod.
Yeah. And I think if Jahan Dotson is the wide receiver 1 in that offense and he's going where he's going, wheels up for the value. That's a league winner right there.
Yeah, no joke.
Anyway, we got way off rails.
We're the Washington receiving room.
How did we do that?
We'd spent a lot of time in the NFC East.
Oh, no.
It's kind of funny.
Oh, damn. That's good.
Whoopsie daisy. So
yeah, back to Minnesota.
Let's take a quick hop and skip halfway across the country back into the land of 10,000 lakes, even though Wisconsin has more lakes. See, they always copy us, and they're not as good. Anyway.
So we talked about the wide receivers. Is there any more notes? Because
that's it.
There's tight end.
Oh, yeah. Tight end. He's going as a tight end 3. Where you have to take him, I don't want him.
I'm seeing him in, like, when they break down the tight end tiers. Like this list that I'm looking at now, they've got him in the top tier with Andrews and Kelsey, and that just doesn't feel right at all.
Who else is it? Is there anyone else in that tier?
It's those two.
No, it's the three of them.
I don't even agree with the fact that tier system has Travis Kelce with anybody else in it.
Yeah. No.
It should be Travis Kelce and
I mean, the year before last, Mark Andrews was the tight end 1, so I don't mind him up there. But Hawkinson is a fraud in the top tier.
Hawkinson is the best tight end after the top 2, but he's going too high, and you can get other guys that are going to produce better than their position, a la Darren Waller, and potentially even Dallas Goedert.
Yeah,
Dallas Goedert could have an upside year. You don't know.
I'd rather have George Kittle than Hawkinson even myself.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I would.
Like, would you rather have Hawkinson in the middle of the 4th or Darren Waller at the end of the 5th? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Darren Waller at the end of the 5th.
Darren Waller all day long.
Yeah, all day long. You give me that scenario. I'm not going 4 rounds on TJ Hawkinson.
Hey, by the way, again, just going to cut into it for a second. Darren Waller, all right, the other night, 1 drive on the field with Daniel Jones.
NFC East, let's go!
Threw the ball 9 times. How many targets do you think he got? 5. Caught 4.
They're saying, I heard a report, I don't know who they is, but that Darren Waller is having arguably the best preseason of any offensive player in the league.
The beat writers out of New York said they've seen 2 players ever in New York in the past 20 years that just move different. Saquon Barkley has been one of them. The other one's Darren Waller.
I mean, before the Kyle Pitts mania, it was Darren Waller mania for like a year or 2, right? He was the freak of nature that was just kind of different than everybody else. And
the last time he dominated was when there was no wide receivers. And guess what? There ain't no wide receivers in New York.
There's really not. But let's go back to Minnesota.
God damn.
Anyway,
anything to talk about. Anything but the Vikings for Patrick.
I mean, let this be brought up as evidence later when we're trying to tell Patrick that the NFC East is the most exciting division because we just can't stay away from him.
Yeah, we're in his own division, and he's just like, yeah, but if you talk
we already covered my team.
Wide receiver room?
I've been glazed over since we talked about the Packers a half hour ago. Anyway.
You stop avoiding that glaze, man.
Oh, man. Glaze is good. I'm done.
I'll glaze.
Anyway. What I'm trying to say is – goddamn. Hawkinson, he's going to go too high. He's going to go in like the 3rd or 4th round. It's too much.
You think he goes in the 3rd?
In our league, he very well could.
In our
league, if he was okay, last year. Maybe you're right, but if he goes in the 3rd, I'm going to laugh so loud in the middle of the person putting the sticker on the board.
Dude, Brant might take him in the 3rd.
No way.
I don't think Brant's that silly.
I think he's silly. I think he's a silly goose.
He's a former champion. You never know. No. You never know what Brant's going to do.
Didn't make the playoffs last year.
Like ADP 45. 3rd round? No way.
Yeah, I mean, he should probably go in the 4th, right? Like, that's where he's probably going to go. Again, it's too much. There's too many other quality players at that point. There's too many other good running backs. There's too many other good quarterbacks. There's too many other good wide receivers. There's no reason to take TJ Hawkinson there because, again, of the guys you can get after him, I mean, Evan Ingram could put up the numbers that TJ Hawkinson puts up this year, and you can get him at tight end 8.
Yep.
Fuck Evan Ingram. Never again am I putting that man on my lineup.
I mean, he showed out last year, and they gave him some money. 3-year contract, big money.
I mean, this is a genuine question. How many weeks did he show out last year?
We're gone again. We're
talking about tight ends. It's a decent question. Now, anyway, I mean, whatever. TJ Hawkinson's going too high. We should probably move on. The Vikings defense sucks. That's a good thing for their offense, though, because they're going to have to throw the ball.
It is. So, another reason for Justin Jefferson to be the number 1 overall pick.
Absolutely. He's the 101 in my mind. I'm not taking CMC if I'm the 1. It's definitely Jefferson.
If I'm forced to take a 1, it's JJ. I want to trade out, but like
Kirk Cousins is going to throw 40 touchdowns and 25 interceptions this year.
39 of those touchdowns are going to go to Justin Jefferson.
He very well could set the record. He's a guy that can do it.
Good.
Him or Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase probably got a better chance, actually, but he's a better touchdown player than Jefferson has been in his career. But anyway, I digress. Let's talk about your illustrious Lords of the Motown here at our number one spot in the NFC North. And you know what? If there was going to be a team we were going to put up there at number one, I'm happy it's the Lions because
everybody should be. Everybody should be happy that the Detroit Lions are looking good.
They are looking good, man. And I think they're a well-rounded offense, too.
Yep.
They have a few questions. There's a few questions. Their running back room looks solid. Quarterback, Jared Goff is kind of right in that mix of the mid-teens. You should use him way before you should use Russell Wilson or Jordan Love or any of those guys. Probably I would put Derek Carr in before him because there's more upside there. Potentially. Jared Goff had some big games
real
last
close.
year.
They're real close. I think Jared Goff was the QB5 for like the first 6 weeks last year.
Yeah. The problem is okay, like I guess we'll backtrack. I mean, we're breaking the rules. Who cares? Let's talk about the wide receivers first.
Okay, go ahead.
So the question is, Amon-Ra is going to be great. I love Amon-Ra. I think he's going to finish in the top 8 on volume alone. He's great. He's only going to get better. He did have a slight injury in the offseason here. I don't think it's anything major. I think he'll be fully ready to go. He's going to get everything because Jameson Williams ain't going to be there. And the question is, though, who else is there? Who's the other wide receiver? Because DJ Chark ain't there. I think Marvin Jones might have came back to town, but he's older than the hills, man. So I just don't know who else they have at wide receiver too.
Amon-Ra all day.
Yeah. And they quietly, other than Buffalo, might have the best chance to have a rookie tight end that's relevant. And nobody's talking about it. Sam Laporta. And it's a need-based thing, and it's also a talent-based thing. They took Sam Laporta pretty high in the draft. Because of the vacancy of pass catchers there, he could become borderline relevant as a tight end stringer. He's the other one outside of Kincaid that might do it.
What's going on with Jameson Williams? I know he's got a suspension, but you got a set table on it?
He's not coming. He can't practice with the team until week 7. You can't draft that guy. You can't draft that guy.
You can't. He's not worth holding on the lineup because you can't put a suspended person in an IR slot. So
you can't do that. Somebody will, but they're going to drop it because injuries happen. And
week 2 or 3, they'll need that spot for somebody.
So pick him up in week 5 when he's on the waivers, or week 4 if you really have. If you're 4-0 and you can afford to stash a guy like that for some upside, go ahead and do it because he's extremely talented. But the problem is, again, no reps. He has no reps. That was the problem last year. And you saw it. He caught a few big down-the-field targets, but he's had no time with the team. He's been injured, and now he's barely getting reps right now because he's injured again right now in the preseason. The big talk was Jameson Williams is going to get all these reps. He's going to be on the field all preseason long. Well, halfway through the first game, he gets injured. So that blows that to smithereens, So he's just not going to be ready. It's going to be another year before we see Jameson Williams do it.
How high does Amon-Ra go on your draft board?
Amon-Ra right now is going around wide receiver 10. I think I would have no problem if you wanted to take him right around the same place as CeeDee Lamb's. A little bit higher. 7, 8. You can take him there.
I like him more than CeeDee.
It's going to be more volume probably in his offense than there's going to be in Dallas this year.
Like Amon-Ra more than CeeDee?
I do.
I disagree on that one.
I do. I think he has. I think between the two of them, one of them has a chance to finish wide receiver like 4, and it's not CeeDee.
I took Amon-Ra over CeeDee in that draft today.
Yeah,
they were both there. I took Amon-Ra.
Maybe it's just because CeeDee seems like more the prototypical wide receiver build.
He does, but you got to remember,
he's that tall, lengthy guy.
Yeah,
Mike McCarthy's got the reins of your gas offense this year. That's a scary proposition.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So
you got to consider that.
Yeah.
Does Dan Campbell call the plays in Detroit? He doesn't, does he? Because he's defensive.
No, they got somebody else up there.
Guess
I don't know who it is.
Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I don't.
No idea
who that is. But anyhow, let's swing back to the running backs here because you do have probably the second. Well, he's going to be the second highest drafted rookie in the draft. I mean, Bijan obviously is going to go in the first round, but second or third round is Jahmyr Gibbs right now. And I haven't taken Jahmyr Gibbs really anywhere because of David Montgomery being there, and they paid him. He's going to be there for 3 years. He's a better Jamal Williams.
I like David Montgomery too.
They're going to use him in that role. I just don't. Jahmyr Gibbs could be. They brought him in to be what they wanted DeAndre Swift to be, right? Like they clearly have a vision of what they want their RB to look like because they keep doing it year after
over
year
and over
after
again.
Year.
Yeah.
So they want him to play that role, and maybe he plays it better. And that is a very explosive role to play. Like Swift had some explosive moments, but it is a very hot and cold role in that offense. The consistent role is the guy who gets the goal line touches because they have a great offensive line. So that's who I want.
I agree.
Traded for him. I traded Breece Hall for him, baby. Breece Hall for David Montgomery, DK Metcalf, and a first.
That first is the only reason that I feel really good. I feel really good about that trade for you, by the way.
Well, wasn't it a 2025 first? Like 2 years from now.
Doesn't matter. It's the first. It's a dynasty league.
It matters a little bit.
Not if you got David Montgomery for 2 years.
Yeah. I got David Montgomery for 2 years. I still got CMC, and I got Tony Pollard, Cam Akers. Good.
Yeah, you'd be all right.
I needed DK in that league.
And you got a first-round pick for it.
Yep. I got exactly what I paid for Breece, and I got DK back. So I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah. But anyway, just showing you that, like, I stand behind my belief in Dave Montgomery because I want him on my, you know what I mean? I already paid for Dave Montgomery.
Fair.
So that's why I want to talk about that. But Dave Montgomery going in the mid-20s, like we said, going right around Rashad White, James Cook.
I don't like him that much.
He's not as sexy a name. He might be a more consistent name.
He might.
Than those two.
It depends on how my roster is constructed at that time.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you need upside, you want the other two.
Yep.
They're going to catch passes and they're going to get work. So, James Cook at least plays in a much better offense. And he's playing with a perpetually injured backup in Damian Harris. So, the Lions got some talent, pass rushers. But, outside of that, they're still building that defense. The strength is really the offense of that team. But you got a hard-nosed coach. You know what I mean? He always gets a lot out of his defense. Saw that last year. Him and Robert Saleh are guys that get a lot. Robert Saleh, D'Amico Ryans, Dan Campbell, they're all that kind of like coach that get a lot out of their defense. So we'll see. Let's see what the Lions can do. I'm rooting for them. Maybe not as much to root for the Packers, of course. They can finish number 2. It's fine. We'll take the top spot.
I just want Dan Campbell mic'd up. That's what I want. I want some of those. You remember some of
It's
the
usually
quotes?
pretty good. It's usually pretty good.
What's that the one Hard Knocks quote? It says, "It doesn't matter if you got one ass cheek and 3 toes, I'll beat your ass." I fucking love it.
Have you guys been watching Hard Knocks this year? I like me some Robert Saleh, man.
Uh-huh.
Oh, absolutely.
He is a leader of men.
I thought the whole Eagles Crow thing was a little rough, but like outside of that, Robert Saleh talking.
When the guys are chesting up on each other and you can just tell they're worn out, facing each other, the same people every day in practice, and he's just like, well, need them to compete a little more. Let them fight it out. You know what I mean? Love that. That's the shit that as corny as this is going to sound, creates warriors on your team. You know what I mean?
I also like a coach who's on the sideline preseason game, and he's not even really coaching, and he's just like he sees his players that are fighting for roster spots like succeeding, and like it brings him like pure joy. Like he like truly cares about his players. Mm-hmm. He has relationships with them.
And he's a player's coach for sure.
Yeah, he's a different version of like a Mike McDaniels. You know, Mike McDaniels does it a very different way.
Yeah.
But same outcome, you know, I would say.
Yeah, there's a new episode dropping of Hard Knocks. Actually, I think just now. I think like 20 minutes ago it probably became available. And I will be watching it when we turn this off.
Perfect.
I'm gonna probably play some of that. Let's get that
right. Yeah, we've kind of gone a little
hour and 20.
All right, well that's kind of where we've been.
That's where we're at.
We're right on pace.
That's where we're at.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did it. That's the North.
Did it?
That's it, folks. That's number 8. We did it all.
That's,
all 32.
That's 8 episodes in 9 weeks.
That's 30. That's 32 teams.
We did it.
And we did it well. We covered every skill position.
There's so many gems.
7, 8 guys in every single team. You know.
I feel like if everybody in the league listened to the podcast, it would make the competition level that much higher because there were some good nuggets in these 8 episodes.
We actually brought some real analytical data into this finally.
And we talked about we're the only 3 people out of the 12 that are giving away their ideas on where they think people should be drafted. So if other people are paying attention, your first place, your second place, or your third place team from last year have laid out most of their draft strategy for you.
Yeah.
If you're not listening,
if you don't know who I like at this point, then you ain't been paying attention. I've been very clear with you.
I like that you guys bring that up because when I bring that up in person to these people about why I'm so much better than them, I don't want to hear you twos telling me to fucking soften up because we laid it all out. Okay?
We told you.
We told them how it was going to be.
This is not permission for you to be a raging cunt all season.
Yeah, just stop trying to get people to quit right before the draft is.
There's holding people accountable. There's holding people's nuts over the fire, and then there's a whole other level, and that's where you were at.
Look,
if we don't have 12 players, then you don't get that extra $100, Cody. Come on, man.
Hey,
together, play.
Like we don't have 6 names just trying to get into our league.
Yeah, but it's hard to get them in a week from the draft.
No, it ain't.
That doesn't mean I don't like the people that are in it now.
Exactly. I like everybody.
So don't push them out.
I've got opinions about everyone in our league too.
I get it. The only reason I said what I said is because you told me to not give you shit for it, and that ain't gonna fly.
Yeah.
You do you. I don't control your actions, but I can
weigh in.
Take no responsibility for your actions. Nor mine. But anyway.
Next week's episode be a draft recap, I imagine.
Yeah, draft recap, probably.
We'll have
get
teams the next time we talk about this.
Oh, yeah. Well, most of us.
Yeah. Well, what did you say?
That's what most of us will.
Okay, sure.
The 3 of us.
The 3 of us are all going to have a team.
Yeah, we will all have a team. That is correct. That is.
I want to see how Allen does. That's going to be. I want to see if he bounces back because every year he's had a killer draft until last year, and it was the opposite. So
yeah, I think he's going to be motivated.
Oh yeah,
I think we're going to see year 2 of Allen being garbage. I think we're going to see a new trend of Allen falling farther and farther off the team.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think maybe last year it was a little kick in the rump. Like, oh shit, I better try.
Yeah, and I think that kick is going to knock him right off the stoop. I think he's going to land himself firmly in the swamp early. I don't think he's going to dry off at any time. And
Okay, who's your surprise up and comer then? Who's the one you think? Okay, cool.
Let's talk about who. Okay, you got to pick somebody other than yourself.
I have a guy.
Who do you think is a dark horse to win the league this year?
And you know what? I am sick and tired of seeing my man Todd be in the bottom. And I think this is the year where we see Todd extend his season into the playoffs for the first time in the Dundee League.
If he'd have made the playoffs last year, he'd have cleaned up. He was the hottest team at the end. One of them.
I pick Todd as my new playoff contender.
Okay. You know, that is a very sharp pick there. I mean, Todd's been making some good moves in our dynasty league. He had to inherit a team. It was not a bad team, but they probably were like the 8th place team. They weren't fully put together. He's been making some good moves. Drafted some good rookies. He got Anthony Richardson on his team. He got Aaron Rodgers. He did a trade with me. I got CMC off of him. But it was early. He got me a little bit. I will admit he got me a little bit because before all of this kind of coalesced around Nick Chubb's season, right? How high everybody is on Nick Chubb. Traded him Nick Chubb for CMC.
I like me some Nick Chubb.
That's not a big gap.
That's a sexy trade, though. That's a sexy trade.
It is a good trade. But he also got Michael Pittman off me. He got Michael Pittman off me as part of that trade. So, yeah, I think he won that.
That's surprising to me. I had a conversation with him about Pittman, and he did not seem like he was on that boat anymore.
Well, he's got Richardson, so it makes sense from that Pittman.
Right? Fill it up.
So,
what about you guys? Do you guys have any turnarounds? Any surprises?
Erica's not as invested this year, so I can't bet on her. I mean, she's working. You know what though? She worked real hard the last 2 weeks before the draft last year, and she had a good draft. So,
interesting. I thought we were picking people to come up. I didn't know we were just.
I think this might be the year.
I didn't know we were spiking our wives into the sand out of the playoffs. That's fucking hilarious.
Way better. Nice detour.
I think
Strozzi might be the year Strozzi turns the corner and makes a. I mean, I say turn the corner. He's always up towards the top, but he hasn't quite. He was
in the playoffs last year. What are you expecting of him then?
Maybe he's in the shit this year. I don't know. He drafts similarly to me, but he always seems to be like half a turn ahead on some of the picks. You know what I mean? So there's a little disdain in my voice when I say this. But it comes from a place of respect. You know what I mean?
My criticism of Strozzi is he goes too hard in on the running backs and doesn't focus enough on wide receivers.
That's why I love it, because that's exactly how I draft.
Yeah, I think the league is changing, and you got to change your draft strategy with it.
But I didn't. He had.
I mean, you're talking to Nick our champion, so watch the fuck out.
Sexy fucking
barely made it into the playoffs. I'll say exactly what I want.
Yeah, I'm looking at that trophy over there. I'm like, look.
I barely what?
I'm not going to shit on that man's
strategy
last year.
You'll be paying to ship that to Wisconsin.
He's the only one. He's the only person I'm not shitting on their draft strategy.
It's true. Number one will buy you a little bit of grace. A little bit.
You had a great draft last year.
Jake's first 5 picks last year. Just imagine having this as your team this year, and it's still fucking sexy. In order: Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, George Kittle, Lamar Jackson, DK Metcalf. Those are his first 5 picks.
It's a good draft. It's a good draft.
Good way to open.
Yeah, I think
Strozzi's a smart kid, man. He knows what he's doing. He pays attention.
I think another good season out of Strozzi. Real controversial pick there, Mr. Wilson. Way to go.
Yeah. So mine.
I'm sorry. Again, trophy. Watch your fucking tone.
Because of the names. Because of the names that need to be taken, and we're not going to mention either of us three. I mean, I got to go Brent after that. After their 2 mentions, I got to go Brent. I mean, Brent's
the one to come up.
Knows football. Brent's called some things and been right about it. And unfortunately, he was very loud about it last year. It made it very hard for me to trade certain players. He kept pointing out the reason why Debo sucked. Stop doing that to me, Brent. Even though you were right. I knew you were right.
What about that, Brent?
Playing chess over here.
Can see. I know Brandon Ayuk is a better wide receiver now. Anyway, I think Brant could do it. I mean, Brant called his shot on Saquon last year, and he was absolutely right.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm very excited. We'll be there on Sunday. We'll be renting a car. We'll be driving down. We'll be there around 1 o'clock. Got a few things to do. We'll be getting the draft board all set up. We'll be there around 6 o'clock probably with a beer and getting hyped up, ready to go.
I can't believe it, boys.
I might need you to print some draft sheets for me, Jake.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Just the rankings. Don't be getting these guys any
from 2022. I'm gonna have 2 piles, and one of them's gonna be from last year's rankings. So.
Get them the right ones so they can lose fair and square. Anyway, I'm so stoked. I've been talking to my new car manager all week about it. His draft's on Sunday too. I've been telling him the rookies, like, you gotta get it. He's got an auction draft, so he's like, I can get these guys if I really want them. I'm like, all right then, this is who you want. So and then he's like, if I lose, I'm gonna blame you. I'm like, if you lose, I'm losing too, dude. So we'll commiserate together. you're picking who I'm picking, we're both going to lose.
True. Win together, lose together.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that does it, boys. Anything else?
I don't know, man. I think that's it. It's I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go because this is
a fun off season.
This is the last one. This is the last one before we all put it together.
We get to start talking about real football soon.
God, I know.
2 weeks from Thursday, first game.
Less speculation, less conjecture.
So much conjecture.